The world of manifestation can be somewhat confusing with so much different advice and so many different practices out there to choose from. Maybe you're like me and have tried a bunch of different practices only to feel like nothing is really working out. Or maybe you've watched a bunch of tarot readings and are wondering why none of these things seem to actually be coming to pass. And it can feel really frustrating to be putting in all of the effort for your cherished dreams and aspirations and feel like it's just not actually getting anywhere. So, today I'm going to share with everybody my practices for actually beginning to retrain your mental algorithm to attract the things you want into your life in less than 30 days. Our mental algorithm is the pattern of thought that we have established that dictates or controls what types of thoughts pop into our mind most often. It is what determines those invasive thoughts or intuitive thoughts, the thoughts that just pop up into our mind without any kind of active control on our part. Just like our social media feeds, the algorithm is determined by whatever it is that we've spent the most time engaging with. So the thoughts that pop into our mind that we start thinking about and carrying the energy forward. The mind determines that these are the types of things that we enjoy engaging with and that keep us active in our imagination. And so pop up similar thoughts into our mind in order to keep us stimulated. However, this has not been well understood or taught or explored in any significant way in human society. So, for the vast majority of our lives, we've been at the mercy of our algorithm, engaging with whatever thoughts creep in there. And the world at large is set up to socialize us to engage most thoroughly with things like lack mentality, there's not enough for everyone, worry, anxiety, things like self judgment and inhibitions, fearful of how other people will see us or whether or not we'll be able to be successful in the world. The result is that many of us end up with a pre established mental algorithm that's full of self doubt, unworthiness, and lack mentality. Fortunately, our mental algorithm is as sensitive to us as the ones on your social media feeds, and as we begin clicking on some different thoughts, the algorithm can shift pretty quickly for us. The first thing I'm going to share is about awareness. It can be difficult to make changes to something that we're not really aware is even taking place. Set aside some time, either at the beginning of the day or the end of the day, to just sit peacefully with yourself and pay attention to what sorts of thoughts creep into your mind. I suppose it's a kind of meditation practice, but the point of it is really just to sit quietly with yourself and notice the sorts of things that pop into your mind when nothing else is going on. Being an observer in this capacity of your own thoughts can help point out whether or not what pops into our mind is tomorrow's schedule, anxieties about work, worrying about the kids or a partner, a family member, thinking about whether or not we've got the money to pay the bills, or even sitting uncomfortable in our body, worried about our pot belly or whatever else. It's a very beneficial practice to make ourselves aware of the types of things that are currently creeping up in our algorithm so we can really get to the bottom of what is blocking manifestations and start to work with shifting perspectives. It's a totally non-judgmental practice, so remember not to beat yourself up about the types of things you think about. The whole idea of it is to become aware of the patterns that are already existing. Once we have that awareness in our sights, you'll find that more and more over a period of about 30 days, you'll notice when it's cropping up during the day and ask yourself, why am I thinking these things? When those invasive thoughts pop in, it's like an interruption to the algorithm. Then you can begin to utilize your search function. Ask your mind, tell me a time when that wasn't the case. Show me a memory when that didn't happen, where I was successful, where I was abundant. The fact of the matter is we have a lot of instances of happy memories, good times, and abundance in our lives. But Because of the way we're socialized, we've spent a lot of time clicking on the evidence, the mental evidence that says otherwise. If we begin to ask our mind to show us the contrary, it will begin to resurface those memories for us. The more we interrupt the negative thought pattern that we're wanting to replace and ask for thoughts that are more positively focused and ask for the evidence that the negativity and the worry is not everything that life has been, the more the algorithm picks up on that and begins to bring you more positive memories, more happy thoughts, and better associations to circumstances. Second practice is asking yourself, how do you use your imagination? And how do you imagine self? Who are you in your wildest dreams? When we're children, the sky is the limit with our imaginations. And oftentimes, children will imagine themselves being all kinds of things, being Beyonce on stage at a concert, a fighter pilot, an astronaut, battling aliens in some heroic fashion, or riding a Pegasus. They don't have the same limiting thought processes that we end up with as adults. How do you imagine yourself now versus how you used to imagine yourself as a child? Over time, a lot of people, as they grow up, their imagination starts to shift from riding a Pegasus into work at the White House because you're president to, gee, I wonder it would be nice to take a vacation next year. Or I wonder what it would be like if I could start my own business, that sort of thing. And often, even those types of more realistic musings are immediately followed up with, but I'm not sure I can give the time off, but I'm not sure I can afford it, but I don't know how to start a business and it might be putting things in jeopardy. As adults, we tend to attach a lot of buts to our imaginings. Step number 2 is about getting off our butts. Imagination is a critical component to our self-image, our self-concept, our self-worth, and the vibration that we're putting out in order to attract things to ourselves. If we learn to work with our imagination, skipping the buts, and just get into the fun thoughts of the things that we want and what it would feel like to be able to do them, whether that's starting your own business or riding a Pegasus, it's interesting how fast the universe can figure out workarounds to the things that you maybe didn't think were possible. There is a kind of awareness piece to this too, because many of us became so accustomed to telling ourselves all the reasons why things weren't realistic that once again the algorithm sets hold and we didn't realize that we were doing that to ourselves. Another thing that many of us do is even when we are imagining the perfect circumstances, imagining a soulmate or a job opportunity or something, some purpose, we tend to automatically add some sort of third act drama into the scenario that we're playing out for ourselves. We've sort of been trained by media and storytelling that it's only compelling if there's some sort of conflict, and so we tend to make up our own conflict in our imagination to have something emotionally stimulating to overcome. As a result, many people are sort of inadvertently imagining the hero's journey rather than just imagining abundance and ease and flow. If we spend some time practicing getting out of our own way with our imagination, skipping all of the buts and leaving the drama for Netflix to worry about, in very short order, it is astonishing how fast the energy in the universe can find all of the workarounds, all of the blessed circumstances for everything to unfold. Maybe not in the way we necessarily thought it would, but in a way that works for our particular circumstances. Practice number 3 is about breaking out of our physical routines, habits, and patterns. Our intuition is always giving us nudges and guidances from inner self, but many of us, especially in adult life, have an established routine, an established set of patterns that we adhere to almost on autopilot. We take the same walk every day. We go to the same grocery store every time. We drive the same route to work every time. We come home and do the same things every day in order to maintain some semblance of comfort and normalcy. Problematically, those patterns and habits can become rigid and inflexible, so that when we get the nudges to turn right instead of left, we ignore that and continue on our patterns on autopilot. But maybe if you turned left instead of right, you would have avoided the traffic jam. Maybe if you went to a different convenience store instead of the one you always go to, that one had the winning lotto ticket. And maybe the person that you're supposed to meet was at a different grocery store than you normally go to. Breaking out of the rigidity of our patterns and habits helps us to feel comfortable following those intuitions and nudges when they hit. If we spend 30 days occasionally making a different choice intentionally, going to a different grocery store on purpose, going to a different gas station on purpose, breaking out of our habits and rigidity, we actually create a flexibility in the waking human ego personality that allows for more of those intuitions to come through more smoothly and without discomfort. The next one is, what do you love? It doesn't necessarily have to be people or anything as complicated as that. It can be something as simple as, I love the smell of fresh cut grass. I love the way the moon shines at night. I love butterflies. I love the sky at sunset. I love drawing or making my art. I love making videos and putting them out to share with people. Whatever it is that you can find a genuinely clean and easy vibration of love. Many times, what you find out there are gratitude practices or appreciation practices. This is very similar to doing I love statements, but it sort of skips the sort of underlying vibration of unworthiness that sort of hides itself in gratitude. It's sort of a sneaky little vibration within gratitude that if you're super grateful for something, it's because you're lucky to have it. And if you're lucky to have it, it's because other people don't have it. And there is a kind of sneaky little vibration of lack mentality in that thought process when we use it. And we want to get that vibration, that feeling of just appreciation, of wonder at the world around us as clean and as uninhibited as possible. Utilizing I love statements, either in your affirmations or in your journaling or just as a thought process of appreciation, really helps hone in that vibration of pure joy that's uninhibited or unburdened by anything else. Utilizing these practices, at least relatively consistently for 1 month, will produce a shift in the mental algorithm, and I promise you will notice a difference in your thought processes, a difference in the way you feel, and a difference in the way that things are being attracted to you. Thank you for joining me and listening to my practices for shifting mental algorithm. I appreciate you guys so much. Like, subscribe, all of that fun stuff. Drop a comment and let me know if you have practices that you use along similar lines. I'd love to hear them. And we will see you guys next time.